The Texans naming Tyrod Taylor their starter. Is this hot news or not news?
Not news, Max. I mean, we've been paying attention, right, guys? We know where this is coming.
Yeah.
It's still incredible. It's fascinating that we're talking about Tyrod Taylor starting on a team with Deshaun Watson, who's healthy. But that's where we're at, man. Not news. We knew this one was coming.
Yeah, it's not news. It's Zach Taylor. I mean, when you look at it, Tyrod Taylor at the starting quarterback spot. Poor guy lost his job in Cleveland. Then he loses his job with the Chargers for some medical issues that made him, a medical doctor made a mistake. And then you talk about the quarterbacks that's behind him. Jeff Driscoll and David Mills from Stanford, that's a rookie. I mean, who else you going to turn to?
Only hot news that will ever come out of Houston now is when, our boy Deshaun Watson goes
That's
somewhere.
right.
If he goes somewhere.
Or gets
So
on
true.
the field.
Or gets on the
That's a
field.
great
That's the
point.
only hot news that will come out of Houston.
Not news. Tyrod Taylor
right.
is reminding me a little bit of like early mid like career Fitzpatrick in the sense that maybe he's a guy who can start for certain teams and after 2 or 3 weeks you go, ooh, he's good. Then he has 2 or 3 weeks where you go, okay, that's why we're still looking for a quarterback. But he's the best the Texans have easily right now, right?
Jeff, I got one for you, Jeff. Saquon Barkley.
Yeah.
Eyeing a week 1 return. Hot news or not news?
I mean, it's hot news. I mean, I think we should have expected this, but at the same time, Saquon has been trying to be extremely patient with this, and he is such an important player, not only for the Giants, but for the NFL. So, look, when Saquon Barkley feels like he's ready to come back, that's hot news. That absolutely, in my opinion, is a star player coming back to the league.
Key?
I would say it's hot news, I guess, when you think about it. They need him for Daniel Jones, Dave Gettleman's job, Daniel Jones' security, and their future in trying to get the Giants back to the Super Bowl.
I think it's hot news. The hotter news is I really, and I feel this way as a fan, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but a part of me understanding how Denver's defense is and really not knowing personally where Saquon Barkley is health-wise, do I want Saquon Barkley to come back for that game right away, or do I want Saquon, especially considering how the O-line is, Jeff? That's what really worries me.
Well,
Understanding how injury-prone he is, like I want him to think more long-term instead of just short-term for the sake of coming back against his top-tier defense.
It is hot news, and I'll tell you why.
Good point.
The Giants, if anything, their offensive line got even worse. 3 years after Gettleman's talking about Hog Molly's going to fix the line. It's worse than ever it looks in the preseason. But Saquon Barkley, behind a terrible line and the remains of Eli Manning as a quarterback, had over 2,000 yards from scrimmage with like 15 touchdowns as a rookie.
That's right.
So he is such a different talent. He can still make a difference. I agree. It's hot news. Okay. Where are we going
Bill
here?
Belichick,
Yes.
I got you, says vaccines alone won't solve all the problems, Jeff. What do you think?
It feels like an Onion headline. Does that not feel like something you see on the Onion? Like, yeah, that's hot news, I guess. I mean, like, the one thing that I feel like contextually, if we do take this to a serious place, is that it's still important to remember when Bill Belichick was talking about, this is all relating back to Cam Newton, essentially, his release, and Bill Belichick saying that it had nothing to do with his release, the fact that he wasn't vaccinated. But we have to remember, when you're signing a backup quarterback to your team and you're thinking about COVID, if that is an unvaccinated player and he's in close contact with the starting quarterback who tests positive, that unvaccinated player is now out for 5 days, even if he was just a close contact and doesn't test positive. That's very important. So, I mean, the statement from Bill Belichick, yeah, I guess it is hot news that now we understand the entire vaccine because of what he said.
Key, hot news or not news?
Dr. Johnson?
I mean, it's a little bit of both, but I'll go hot.
Dr. Johnson.
I'll kind of follow Jeff on this one. I mean, when you think about it, Belichick is what he's saying is not going to solve everything because, much like Jeff is saying, when you sign a player that you can't just pass on everybody all the time when you need to fill your roster with players because somebody got hurt. And that player you may sign may potentially not be vaccinated, but you have to pull the trigger on it because you need to fill that spot, and that player might eventually be good. But you take a chance and you run the risk of close contact.
I think that's a very good point. I just don't know that that's what Belichick meant by it. Jay, hot news or not news?
It's not news in my opinion. I mean, look, if there's a demand, you look across the field of supply and you see what is the best version of supply. And even if there is mitigated risk with what's available, you take what's available. I mean, it's something that every NFL team, every sports team in the country is going to have to deal with this
Let me tell you why it is hot news. It's hot news because what Belichick said was really idiotic, right? Belichick's a very smart guy, but this was a stupid statement. Just because you get the vaccine, there are vaccinated players who also get. Yeah, no kidding. There are people who wear seatbelts and still wind up in car accidents hurt, right? Does that mean you don't wear a seatbelt? Like, especially in the middle of a pandemic, that is a stupid, irresponsible thing to say by a normally smart guy. So I say that is, when someone like that makes a comment like that, that's hot news. Okay. Rob Ninkovich says that Mac Jones was helping Cam learn the playbook. Jeff Darlington, hot news or not news?
What?
I mean, I love Ninkovich, and I believe what he's saying. I'm going to say not news because I'm going to just save our guy Cam here a little bit and say it without the exact context of what we're talking about. I don't want to blast the guy. Cam Newton is actually one of the smarter quarterbacks. This guy digests playbooks very well, so I don't want to sit here and take what perceived to be potentially an unnecessary shot at Cam. The good news is that Mac Jones appears to be very capable of understanding playbooks, so we'll go ahead and give a nod to him, but I'm going to say this is not news.
It's not news at all whatsoever. I've never known Cam Newton to not understand a playbook, especially a second year in the playbook. It does, and like I always say, Max and Jeff and Jay, every damn quarterback is smart. He wouldn't be out there running the offense.
That's right.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.